can't do this to me. She screamed, struggling in the tight grip of those who were holding her tightly. Her mother scoffed. Oh honey, I already did. By the way, I didn't know you will be this much useful to me. Otherwise, I would have done this long ago, she said, fanning herself with a stack of crisp notes which she got after selling her daughter. I never saw a cheap woman like you before, selling your own blood just for some money. I always knew you were greedy, but never thought you will go this much low. She angrily spat. Mrs. Min stood up from the couch and marched towards her in anger. But the man in black blocked her way. You can't hurt her physically. We need her to look beautiful. Mrs. Min just shook her head in amusement. Whatever, and you, she pointed her finger towards Ryan. Just so you know, you are not my daughter. We adopted you. You're such a disgrace. Just brought sorrow in our family, and now I'm getting rid of this burden. You can take her away from here, she said to those men, and they started dragging her. You will regret this. Leave me. She screamed, struggled, but everything went into vain. In a dimly lit room sat a notorious figure, surrounded by his men in black, like he owns the place. Well, practically he owns whole country, and this is just a brothel. The lady came and bowed in front of him, her head down, and she spoke. We are very glad to have you here. What do you want for you, sir? Any preferences? We have many beauties here, from different countries. Have a look. Bts Jungkook, the notorious and dangerous mafia, lifted his gaze only to see men dragging girls and pushing them on the floor on knees, their heads hanging low, bodies visibly shivering, barely in senses because of the amount of drugs injected in their body. Jungkook exhaled heavily and then looked at the lady in the eye. The lady shivered in fear and immediately lowered her head. I want to talk to the owner. Bring him here. It was an order, not request. The lady, not wanting to anger him and risk her life, quickly retreated to bring her boss. Not even a minute passed, and a man emerged from the dark, his head down. What happened, sir? Is there any problem? Jungkook pulled his gun out and placed it in the center of the table, and Mr. Lee gulped in fear. Yes, there is a problem, he calmly stated, and the man stuttered. What is it, sir? He asked, but his eyes widened and his whole body went numb the moment Jungkook looked at him face to face. You, Lee. Mr. Lee gasped in horror. He tried to run, but before he could even make a move, he was slammed on the floor by his bodyguards. You betrayed me. You are a John, he exclaimed in shock, while Jungkook just chuckled, the sound so dark and unsettling. Yes, I am a John. Why? You thought some cheap pocket picker? John family is known as the most dangerous family in the whole country. Once you cross them, only death can save you. If you are on their bad sides, pray to God. But they work in dark. The world know their name, but not their faces, and the one who has seen them are not alive to tell the world. In front of the world, they run industries, commercials, hospitals, hotels, and whatnot. They have their hand in everything. Mr. Lee was a businessman, unknown of his identity, worked with him on a project. But in greed, he sold the confidential information with the rival groups and then disappeared, thinking he can get away with it only if he knew. Sir, please leave me. I'll never. He couldn't complete as Jungkook shot him in the middle of the head, earning some screams from the girls. They tried to run but couldn't, as they were badly drugged and couldn't even stand properly. You know what to do with these girls. Send them from where they came, safely. He ordered his men. We will take care of that, Jungkook. You just wait outside. Jungkook barely nodded and headed outside. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He attended the call. and by the time he walked towards his car after hanging up the call, his eyes fell on the unconscious girl being carried by his man. She looked familiar. "Stop!" he shouted, and everyone stopped immediately on their place. He moved closer and he recognized the girl in an instant. He took that girl from the man, carefully carried her fragile figure in his arms. "What happened to her?" "Don't know, boss, but she is badly drugged. While other girls in some senses, but she is unconscious. We tried to wake her up, but she didn't even flinch." Jungkook barely nodded as he adjusted her in his arms and started walking towards his car. Meanwhile, Yuan came outside after everything was done and the situation was under control, but frowned when he didn't find the car, and Jungkook was also nowhere to be seen. "Where is Jungkook?" he asked one of the guards. "Sir left for mansion with the girl." "With a girl?" he repeated to confirm, and the guard nodded. And yes, he was looking very worried for her. Maybe he knows her. He said and left, leaving Yuan alone and confused. Yuan scratched the back of his head and thought, "Jungkook and some girl? What the hell?" The doctor checked the unconscious girl, Vian, laying on Jungkook's bed. "She has been badly drugged and highly dehydrated. That's why she is unconscious. I have injected her. She will come in senses in 5 to 6 hours and give her medicines according to the prescription." Doctor looked at Jungkook, who seemed restless. He smiled softly at him. "Don't worry, she will be alright." Jungkook looked at the doctor and nodded, exhaling sharply. "Guards will escort you out." Jungkook sat on the bed beside Vian, his gaze soft. His hand reached out and brushed the hairs back from her face softly. "What happened to you, little girl?" He caressed her cheeks, which has a slap mark. He still remembered how he first time met her and fell for her in their first encounter. And from then, he is searching for her crazily. But today, he met her, but like this. Vine was walking on the road, her steps slow, breathing labored. She was tired after a long day. She was a medical student and currently doing her internship in the hospital. She was passing by a park, but then she heard someone groaning in pain. She tried to ignore it, but the sound was too painful for her to ignore. She looked here and there and saw a man sitting on a nearby bench, almost 4 steps behind her. Because of the darkness, she didn't notice him until she heard his voice. "Hey, what happened?" "I was sitting on a bench in the cold night, enjoying silence after a gang fight. I always prefer silence after a long noisy day, but my silence was disturbed by a soft voice followed by a tap on my shoulder. I lazily opened my eyes to see who have a death wish in the middle of the night and in the middle of nowhere. But oh, it's a girl. Murder cancelled. God will not forgive me for killing a childish girl just because she disturbed me." "Hey, what happened?" I snapped back from my trance and looked at her. "Nothing," I said, but she gasped loudly, maybe by seeing my wounds. "I'm injured pretty badly." "What happened to you?" She attempted to touch me, but I held her hand. "What are you doing, little girl?" "Let me treat you. I'm a doctor." I left her hand and said, "Go home, little girl. It's not safe for you to roam at this hour." She didn't say anything and started opening her bag, and I closed my eyes again. But my eyes were jerked open when I felt something touching my wounds. She was cutting my shirt. I held her hand again. "What are you doing?" She removed my hand from her wrist and looked at me without an ounce of fear in her eyes. "Let me treat you." I don't know why. I found myself complying to her words, and she started doing her work. "Don't you think it's wrong to take advantage of a man, little girl?" I remarked when she removed my bloody shirt completely, basically tore it. She glanced at me for a second before focusing on the task in her hand. Don't worry, I don't take advantage of an old man. Ouch, that hurts. Old man, I hissed when she pressed the word harder against my wound. Yes, if I'm a little girl, then you are an old man. Now be quiet and let me do my work. Aren't you scared? What if I took advantage and what if I killed you? She looked up, her eyes locked with mine, sharp and fearless. Don't worry, I know how to break any bone completely. She threw the bloody cotton away. And if you tried, I will break your remaining bones too, old man. In that one fleeting encounter, she did something to him without doing anything, and he was whipped. She was all over his mind, and without even his knowing, he found himself thinking about her. He tried finding her. He felt so stupid for not asking her name and number, not like she had given him happily. So you left us there, Jungkook. How could you? He said after barging inside his room, followed by Ray. Shh. Jungkook signed them to be quiet, and then their gaze fell on the girl laying on the bed unconscious. Who is she? Jungkook covered her properly with the duvet before pulling both of them in the corner. Now tell us, who is she? She is the girl I met that night, who treated my wounds. Silence. For a moment, silence followed, before Ray broke it. So what now? Jungkook ran a hand through his hair, uncertainty evident in his features. I don't know. Let her be fine first, then we will talk about it. Do you love her? Yes, he said, his tone leaving no room for uncertainty. Jungkook stared at him for a second, then walked away, leaving both of his friends smiling behind. Bro is in love. Now he will understand the pain of mingle people. Ray nodded, totally agreeing with him. Vian's eyes fluttered open, her vision blurry, her body sore, followed by the sharp headache in her head. She grabbed her head, trying to sit up. She glances around, taking in the unfamiliar surrounding. Then, the events from yesterday started flashing in her mind. Her heart pounded in fear. Am I actually sold to someone? Her eyes flickered towards the door, hearing someone's footsteps, which are coming closer, followed by the click of the key. She moved with the speed of flash, grabbing the flower vase which was placed on the table. She hid behind the door, waiting for the person. Meanwhile, Ray walked inside the room, as per the order of his friend. But he frowned upon seeing the empty bed, which was earlier occupied by Vian. He further walked ahead, looking for Vian, but as he walked further, he got the sharp hit. Yes, Vian smashed the flower vase in his head. Ray groaned in pain. Ray turned around, grabbing his head, trying to stop the blood from gushing out. She had hit him pretty hardly. His eyes widened slightly, seeing Vian standing there with furious expression. And in the next second, her fist landed on his jaw. The impact of the punch, hard for someone of her size. Ray, who was in shock, brought back to his senses after receiving the punch, and he swiftly grabbed both of her hands when she tried to attack him. What the hell, girl? Vian got more angry when he grabbed her hands. She was the girl with anger issues. How dare you touch me, you monster? She hardly kicked him on his shin, sending him sprawling on the floor. And after some time, he was laying on the floor with bloody and dizzy head. She was about to go, but then her gaze fell on the gun, tucked in his waist. She immediately snatched it, and Ray with dizzy head shook his head slowly to not to take it, but Vian ignored him and walked out of the room. Van was running in the search of the exit and finally found the stairs, but two guards blocked her way. "Move if you don't want to die," she said while pointing the gun at them, but the guards remained on their places unflinching. "Sorry, miss, but we can't let you go." Ryan, growing frustrated by each passing second, aimed the gun at them and pulled the trigger. Her life is more important for her at the moment. But the gun was empty. Nothing came out. What the? She threw the gun and again tried to run, but the guards held her. Finding no other choice, she fought them, kicked them, tried everything to take them down. But the four well-built men were overpowering one girl. Hearing the commotion, Jungkook and Yeon came outside, but got shocked to see the view in front of them. Two guards were laying on the ground, groaning in pain with bruised face, trying to get up, while the other two were holding Ryan tightly, who was continuously throwing her legs and hands to break free. "Leave her." Hearing the roaring voice of their boss, the guards immediately left her, while Ryan looked at the source of the voice. "Old man," she whispered. "So, you're not the one who bought me?" she asked, looking sharply at Jungkook. They were now sitting in the living room. "Do you want more proof?" Ryan slightly shook her head. "That means you saved me. Thank you, old man." Yeon pressed his lips to stifle his laugh that threatened to break free, hearing Ryan calling him old man. "Jungkook, Jeon Jungkook is my name, not some old man. Ryan, Kim Ryan is my name, not some little girl." Jungkook looked at her in amusement but didn't say anything. "So, now can I go?" she asked after a minute of silence. "No, you can't go now, but there are some matters which needs to be solved. After that, you can go." But before Ryan can insist more, she got cut short by Yeon. "Where is Gray?" he asked, looking at Jungkook. "I asked him to check on Ryan." "But she is here." "Then where is he?" Without waiting for him to complete, Jungkook ran upstairs. "What happened to him?" she asked, while Yeon looked at her worried. "Did he beat someone upstairs?" Her eyes widened slightly in realization as she remembered how badly she had beaten that man. She gulped and slowly nodded her head. Yuan cursed under his breath and ran upstairs, followed by Ryan. Doctor was treating Ray's injuries while Jungkook and Yeon was glaring at Ryan, who was standing in the corner. Someone has hit him hardly on the head with something heavy, which caused him so much bleeding. Other than this, rest are minor injuries, doctor said after dressing Ray's wounds properly. He wrote some medication and Yeon escorted him out. As soon as doctor was out with Yeon, Jungkook took long strides towards Ryan and grabbed her neck and pinned her to the wall. His eyes were blazing with anger. "If something serious happened with him, consider yourself dead, because I won't leave you for hurting my brother." "Leave me," she whispered. The words barely made it out as she struggled in his grip to breathe. Her heart pounded in her ears. "Leave me." Her hand clutched on his, trying to pry them away. Black dots started appearing in front of her. And the moment she felt she will pass out, someone pulled Jungkook away from her, and Ryan fell on the ground, gasping for air. "What are you doing, Jungkook? Want to kill her? Why are you strangling her? Is that why you brought her here?" Jungkook, struck by realization, gripped his hair in frustration. What the hell he was doing? He looked at her, who was coughing violently on the floor, her hands wrapped around her throat. Jungkook stepped towards Ryan, but she crawled back instantly. Yeon walked towards her and crouched down in front of her. "Ryan, are you okay?" She didn't say anything. After some time, When her breathing was little normal, she looked at Jungkook, her eyes red with unshed tears. She stood up and strode towards him furiously and slapped him hard before grabbing his collar. What was I supposed to do with my kidnapper? After waking up in a strange place, I thought I was sold to someone as a slave, and my first instinct was to get out of here at any cost. Tell me, what did I do wrong? I was scared. She left his collar and pushed him slightly, and he looked at her with his red eyes. Nobody till today has grabbed his collar and was left alive. But it only triggered Vian. What's with this glaring, huh? Want to kill me? Kill me, and game over. But I will not apologize to you. You know what? Your mind is getting rusted day by day, you bloody old man. Now you're speaking too much. Okay, I accept it. It was my fault to strangle you, but I was worried for my brother. So, should I be thankful to you then? And you are worried for your friend, right? I'll take care of him until he will be perfectly fine. She walked past him and sat on the bed where Ray was sleeping with bandages on, while Jungkook started walking out of the room but stopped, hearing Vian. Where are you going without saying sorry? You almost killed me, shameless creature. She muttered the last word under her breath, and Jungkook turned around and looked at her with sheer disbelief in his eyes. Jungkook, didn't you find any other girl to fall for? But what can I do? She is already living in my heart without any rent. Apologize, Jungkook, apologize. How could you do that to her? The fault was yours. Otherwise, falling for you is far. She wouldn't even be friends with you, old man. Old man. Effect of her company. His chains of thought got broke when he heard Yuan. Why? He is not going to apologize. He never. His words got cut short in middle as Jungkook said. I'm sorry, he said and walked out of there hurriedly, while Yuan stood there dumbfounded as he just saw a full drama without any ticket. Everyone was in the living room when a maid came there. Sir, Racer has gained consciousness now. As soon as she said this, everyone sprinted upstairs, Vian too followed behind. Are you alright, Ray? Are you feeling any pain? Your all bones are fine, right? As Vian reached there, she stand in a corner, quietly behind them. Yeah, shut up. My head is aching. Stop shouting, he said, rubbing his temples in frustration, while others sighed in relief. Jungkook slowly sat beside him on the bed. Are you feeling okay? Yeah, just a little headache. Ray's gaze fell on Vian and he remembered everything. He looked at her angrily. What the hell you did with me? You really thought of me as some thug? Just look at my handsome face which you ruined. Vian looked at him for a second, but then bowed her head in apology. I'm sorry, Ray, I was scared. That's why I did that. I'm sorry for beating you this badly. Ray gazed at her for a second, then sighed, nodding his head. It's okay. You really forgive me this easily? Yes, I can understand, as I was also once kidnapped, so yeah, I can understand you. Thank you so much. I was feeling so much guilty. Now can I go? She asked, looking at Jungkook, who instantly shook his head. No, you can go after 1 month, when everything is settled. And also, you don't even have a place to go. I have my home. I just have to fix some screws of my stepmom. You can go after 1 month. Your safety is my responsibility now. Why? She asked, raising her brows. 'Cause you saved me once, remember? You don't have to do this. I want to. After some time, Vian is sitting in the living room, fuming in anger, as Jungkook promised her to take her on shopping. But now, it's 10 p.m. and he is nowhere. Suddenly, Vian heard a door unlocking sound and saw a human entering his own house like a thief. who is none other than Jungkook, but his steps halted on his place, spotting Ryan in the living room, sitting on the sofa like a queen and burning holes in him with her sharp eyes. He laughed nervously and slowly walked to her. "What are you doing here, Viney?" "Waiting for a jerk who promised to take me somewhere, but now he is coming in the midnight. How sweet, right?" she asked, sarcasm dripping from her every word. Jungkook gulped nervously and tried to coax her. "Ryan, I'm sorry. I don't need your sorry. You said we are best friends. That's what you do to your friend, you jerk. I won't talk to you." She turned her head other side and Jungkook can literally see invisible smoke coming out from her ears. He also sat beside her. "You won't talk to me? Really? Really?" he said as he tickled her in between, and Ryan started laughing uncontrollably. "First say, I'll talk to you. I'm already talking to you." She huffed and pushed his hand aside, and he finally let her go and sat beside her, and they spent their night there, laughing and giggling on silly things. Time passed so fast, and now it's the day for Ryan to leave. Both are standing in the premises of his mansion with Ryan's luggage, and a car is waiting for her to drop her home. Ryan took a deep breath. Finally gathering some courage, she turned to Jungkook and smiled at him softly. "Okay, now it's time to go. Thank you, Jungkook, for saving me, and I'm really grateful to get a friend like you. Thank you for everything." Jungkook just nodded, pressing his lips tightly. He doesn't want her to go. He tried to confess his feelings so many times, but couldn't. "I hope we'll remain good friends, and whenever you'll need me, I'm just one call away." Ryan smiled slightly at him. "You'll always be my friend, Jungkook." She looked at the car and then at him. "Okay, bye." He just hummed. Ryan turned around and slowly walked to the car, and suddenly Jungkook felt the tears stung in his eyes, and before he knew, his feet walked behind her, and just when she was about to reach her car, Jungkook's hands reached out, one wrapped around her waist and another on her shoulders as he hugged her tightly from behind. Her breath hissed when he rested his chin on her shoulder. His tears slipped from his eyes and landed on her neck. She tried to turn, but Jungkook held her in her place. "Don't go, please," he whispered, his voice barely above a whisper, and she froze for a moment, feeling him this close to her, hearing him pouring his heart out in front of her. "Please don't go, Ryan. Please. I love you. I want to be more than friends to you. If you allow, I want to be your safe place and want you to be my home." He broke the hug and turned her around to face her. Her tears fell from her eyes, which she was trying to hold from so long. He cupped her face softly and wiped her tears away. She raised her hands and did the same. Jungkook closed his eyes, feeling her soft touch on his face. He slowly opened his eyes and stared deep in her eyes. "I love you, Ryan." She smiled softly and nodded. "I know." Jungkook fell silent upon hearing her. This time, Ryan took a step forward and raised herself on her toes and cupped his cheeks. Jungkook instinctively wrapped his arms around her waist securely. "I know. I was just waiting for you to confess." Jungkook just stared at her for some seconds, then his lips curved into a beautiful smile and he looked at her, smiling crazily. "So what's your answer?" Ryan raised her brows. "You still want to know?" she asked, and Jungkook immediately nodded his head as yes. Ryan stared at him for some seconds, her eyes locking into his before she grabbed him by his collar and pulled him in a deep, passionate kiss. Her lips, soft, brushed against his. His hands tightened around her waist as he pulled her more into him. They broke the kiss and rested their forehead against each other, their eyes closed, their breath heavy. "I love you," they both whispered in sync and smiled at the realization before wrapping their arms around each other. embracing each other tightly with the promise of never letting go of each other.